You are under arrest for abandoning a child in a remote area of the mountains. One hot summer afternoon, the police suddenly came to my house. What? My daughter is taking a nap right now. Despite my confusion, they didn't listen and eventually handcuffed me. I was taken away and met a child who was said to be protected by the police. The child, upon seeing me, lit up and called out, "Mommy." Thus began an unexpected series of tumultuous events. My name is Tracy Manning. I'm a 33-year-old office worker. My husband, Brian, is a firefighter, and we have a good relationship. We live near my parents' house and are raising our 4-year-old daughter, Mia. I'm currently pregnant with our second child, and we recently found out the baby's gender. Mia is going to be a big sister to another little girl. While I was happy, I also harbored a certain anxiety ever since I knew I would be raising 2 girls. I worried about the future relationship between the sisters. This is because I never had a good relationship with my own sister. I was born as the older twin in a pair of identical twins. My sister's name is Christina. Although our parents raised us with equal love, our personalities were nearly opposite. I was quiet and serious, while Christina was lively and mean-spirited. As children, we played together, but gradually, I started to avoid her. In elementary school, we were in the same class once. Christina incited her friends to ignore me and ostracize me. Our parents and teachers were troubled, and since then, we were placed in separate classes. At home, her treatment of me was even worse. I was scorned as a nerd just for doing my homework. And she even tore up my tests when I scored a. I remember crying when she deliberately ruined my hobby's practice clothes with paint. Each time, our parents scolded Christina, but she rebelled. "Dad and Mom, you just love my sister more." She would say such things and throw tantrums. Our parents were never biased. But Christina became increasingly twisted and exhibited problematic behavior. In middle school, Christina became even more uncontrollable. I was just an ordinary, serious student, but she was different. She started hanging out with bad company and staying out late at night. When she came home, she would break things and shout. I was once injured on the forehead when Christina threw an object at me. I always found it hard to deal with Christina, selfish and mean. Later, I went to a local prestigious school. But Christina barely passed her high school and soon dropped out. At 18, she left home, and we lost contact for a long time. According to our parents, she occasionally showed up asking for money. Honestly, I didn't want to have anything to do with her. The last time I saw Christina was when I was pregnant with my eldest daughter. My husband and I visited my parents, and Christina suddenly appeared. Dressed in flashy clothes and heavy makeup, she hinted at working in the nightlife industry. "Oh, my sister is here?" She glanced at me and, before I could finish saying, "It's been a while," she smiled sweetly at our parents. "Dad, Mom, can you lend me some money? Let's say $5,000. Our parents were puzzled by her shameless request for money. Unable to bear it, I intervened. "Christina, shouldn't you stop asking our parents for money? You're working, right?" Christina glared at me fiercely. "You shut up." Always trying to be the good girl and curry favor with our parents. "You're just as annoying as ever." Then she scrutinized my husband, laughing as she looked him up and down. "And what about this pathetic husband of yours? He's a firefighter, right? Well, I guess he's just right for you. Don't talk badly about my husband. Then keep your mouth shut. You're an outsider, aren't you?" As I fell silent, Christina smirked. "Just you watch. I'll end up more successful than you." I didn't understand what she meant, but her glittering eyes filled me with fear. In the end, my parents gave Christina $5,000 that day. but they had had enough and decided to cut ties with her. It's been about 5 years since that day, and I haven't seen Christina. I don't even know where she is or what she's doing. That's why I always hoped that my children would have a good relationship as sisters. My husband seemed to understand my worries. Our kids will be fine, I'm sure. Besides, what kind of person do you want them to grow up to be? Maybe. I want the girls to take up the same hobby I did. I think that's a good idea. Let's think positively like that. I was always saved by my kind and sincere husband. I cherished the happiness I had and spent each day gratefully. However, an incident occurred one afternoon in midsummer, 7 months into my pregnancy. I had just put Mia to nap after a tiring morning at the pool when the doorbell suddenly rang. When I opened the front door, there stood the police with stern faces. "You are under arrest for abandoning a child in the mountains." What? My daughter is taking a nap right now. Confused, I answered, but the police glared at me as if saying, "Don't play dumb. The lost child we found had your name and address on her tag. Do you have anything else to say?" With that, they handcuffed me. The cold metal and its heavy weight were a harsh reminder that this was reality. I called my husband for help and asked him to take care of Mia before I was taken to the police station. Without a word, the police introduced me to the child they had found in the mountains. There, a little girl about 3 years old lit up upon seeing me. "Mommy, did you come to pick me up?" I was looked at suspiciously by the police, as if I was indeed her mother. But their suspicion was not unreasonable. She had a face that was identical to mine and Christina's when we were little. At that moment, I realized. This child must be Christina's daughter. She mistook me, her spitting image, for her mother. I didn't know why she was left in the mountains or why my name and address were on her tag. But there was no doubt she was Christina's child. I desperately explained this to the police. Eventually, the police confirmed that my only child was Mia, and I was allowed to go home. Even after being released, I couldn't stop thinking about the girl named Ashley. I immediately went to my parents' house to tell them what had happened and asked them to contact Christina. However, her phone number had changed, and we couldn't reach her. Since the police couldn't locate her either, my parents, as her relatives, decided to take Ashley to Indiana. On the day Ashley first came to our house, she looked very anxious. "Do you know where your mom is?" "I don't know. I want to see Mommy." "You're like Mommy, but you're different, right?" "Yes, but I am your aunt. You can feel safe here." As my parents and I spoke kindly to her, Ashley relaxed and nodded slightly. "Do you remember the day you and Mommy parted on the mountain?" As I asked, Ashley began to speak hesitantly. "Mommy said let's go for a drive." It was my first time, so I was happy. But when we got to the top of the mountain, Mommy took me out of the car. What? Then Mommy's car left, and I was all alone. It was so hot, and I had no water bottle, and I got thirsty. Then I got more and more sleepy. I had been told by the police about the circumstances. When she was found in the mountain parking lot, Ashley had been discovered by hikers, suffering from heat stroke. Imagining her loneliness and suffering at that time, tears came to my eyes. I was scared. Why did Mommy leave me? Instinctively, I hugged Ashley's small body tightly. Feeling that she was my niece connected by blood, I found her even more adorable. How could anyone do such a horrible thing to such a small child? I will never forgive Christina. Slowly, I got Ashley to tell me everything she knew. Ashley remembered the name of the place where Christina worked. So we found my sister surprisingly quickly. She was working in the entertainment district of the neighboring city, living in an apartment nearby. I apologized to my father for writing a letter pretending he had passed away, saying, "We need to get Christina out." The letter was about discussing inheritance. A few days later, Christina took the bait and showed up at our house. Brian was looking after Ashley, so my parents and I greeted Christina. Seeing our faces, Christina was taken aback. "What the? Dad was supposed to be in the other world, right? Where's the inheritance?" I sighed. "That was a lie to lure you out. But there's something more important we need to talk about, isn't there?" My sister, wary yet evasive, replied. "More important? What are you talking about? Don't play dumb. It's about Ashley, obviously." "Oh, her. Where is she now?" "She's currently with my husband. I can't let you meet her." Hearing this, Christina smirked. "Oh, she's alive? Seems like she's fitting in just fine. Keep raising her then. You should be thankful." I was shocked, but Christina began to blabber without being asked. She revealed that Ashley was the child of a customer from the place she used to work, who claimed to be a president. She believed that having his child would be her ticket to a wealthy life, and thought she would become a winner by giving birth. However, in reality, the customer was not a president but a freeder, who ran away without taking responsibility. So, I had no choice but to raise her this far. But I've got a boyfriend now, and she became a nuisance, you know. I was appalled by my sister's nonchalant attitude. "Why did you give her a lost child tag with my name and address?" I hoped she would get lost in the mountains. But if someone found her and thought she was your child, I thought it might work out. I'm smart, right? My anger reached its peak at Christina's frivolous laughter. Ashley nearly lost her life. And you still call yourself a mother? Then, my sister mocked even those words. Well, that was then. Anyway, she's alive now, so no problem. Someone who found her brought her to your place, right? Were you surprised? I felt something snap inside me at her outrageous words. Do you know that Ashley was taken into police custody? Huh? The police? Christina looked at me in shock. It seemed she had not anticipated police involvement. How can you lack so much imagination? Normally, if a child is abandoned in the mountains, it becomes a police matter. The police are still looking for you. No way. I've been strictly instructed by the police to inform them as soon as I know your whereabouts. I had already asked my mother to contact the police at that moment. As I revealed this, Christina's face grew paler. What? You mean I'm going to be arrested? I faced Christina, who was trembling with fear, and said firmly, "Of course you are. You need to pay for what you've done." You're joking. I'm starting a new life. I can't get caught. Christina suddenly stood up and screamed this, attempting to flee through the front door. Blocking her way, I faced Christina's bloodshot eyes. What can you do, pregnant like that? Should I punch that big belly of yours? If you don't want that, move out of the way. If you think you can, then try it. I shouted back at my sister, and then Christina really raised her fist to hit me. However, in the next moment, Christina flew through the air and landed on her back on the floor with a loud thud. Ow, it hurts. What happened? Have you forgotten? I've been practicing karate since I was little. Yes, the hobby I had continued since childhood and wanted to teach my daughters was karate. I never imagined that the karate I learned to protect myself would come in handy in such a situation. I grabbed Christina's wrist, applied a technique, and pinned her to the floor. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts. Stop it. Let me go. It's easy for me to immobilize you, even as a pregnant woman. Stay calm until the police arrive. You're doing this to your own sister. Don't start talking about convenience now. I applied a little more pressure on the hand I was holding, and Christina screamed again. Ouch, it's breaking, it's breaking. Stop it already. I'm really sorry. Please forgive me. Seeing that I wasn't loosening my grip, Christina began to plead with our parents for help. Dad, Mom, don't just stand there, stop her. However, our parents didn't respond, and silently helped me restrain Christina as she tried to struggle. Then, we heard the sound of a police car approaching in the distance. The police officers who entered the house were a bit surprised by the situation, but eventually made Christina stand up for identification. And then, with a slump and almost crying, Christina was escorted into the police car and taken away, watched by me and our parents. Later, Christina was arrested for abandoning Ashley in the mountains and ended up behind bars, dumped by her boyfriend and disowned by us. She won't have anyone to help her when she gets out. I have no idea how my sister with a criminal record will live her life from now on. I hope she'll at least reflect on her actions while she's behind bars. Ashley is now being raised by my parents. I often bring my daughter to visit my parents. And the two girls, as close cousins, attend Katare classes together. After giving birth to my second child, Ashley and Mia have been lovingly taking care of their new little sibling. Seeing the three of them napping together always brings a smile to my face. Going forward, I plan to take care of Ashley and live happily with my family.